I found a very interesting, how to say, palette of the portraits of the collectors.
Yes.
Which are very different. For example, the man, the gentleman from the mansion has a very intimate kind of relationship with the heritage of Rembrandt. And this American millionaire is very kind of expressive kind of man who is
Yes.
talkative and very, American kind of type.
Yes.
So how did you pick up all these people in the film, and what were the criteria? And maybe there are a lot more of them, and you decided not to include them in the film.
Well, Vilma, there are not so many private collectors owning a Rembrandt in their own house.
Okay.
So. And I must maybe tell that before I made a film on the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, on the big renovation there. So through the director of the museum, I got a very good introduction to all those private collectors owning a private Rembrandt. But there weren't so many. I mean, there was the Queen of England, but she did not invite me to come over, unfortunately. So except for her, everybody wanted to collaborate on the film. So I was very happy that the Duke of Buccleuch in Scotland, who has the most beautiful Rembrandt, I believe it's the Old Woman Reading. It's my favorite Rembrandt, actually. And he was very happy when I wrote him a letter. And I got a very good introduction from the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. So I was very happy that he was so pleased to join in with the film. And I thought it would be interesting to have many different people, like you said, very different in like the American businessman who owns, I think now, 12 or 13 Rembrandts. And of course, there's the Amsterdam family, the Six family, who's very famous in Holland, because it's the only, actually, it's the only family owning a Rembrandt that is really an ancestor of them. It's Jan Six. It has the same name as the Jan Six now, the two Jan Six. There's the 10th Jan Six, there's the 11th Jan Six. And that's really unique in the whole world, that there's a portrait hanging in the home of them, painted by Rembrandt, and with the same name. It's an ancestor. So this palette of people was for a film was unique, I think.
Yeah, it was. And I also wanted to ask you, in the beginning, you said that you met Jan's father,
Yes.
who's also a collector, right? But he didn't become the protagonist of the film, and you stayed with Jan. What was the story behind?
Well, you mean the father of Jan Six and Jan Six?
Yes.
Okay. Well, actually, as you can see in the film, the young Jan, who's a young, handsome man, when I met him, he said, if you follow me, I'm going to discover undiscovered Rembrandts, because he called himself a Rembrandt detective. And, you know, as a filmmaker, it really puts you on the edge. So I thought this might be very interesting. And he didn't disappoint me, because he discovered two Rembrandts. So that was quite exciting. And I knew he would be very interesting for the film, because he was happening. There was a lot happening in his life. So therefore I followed him.
Do you think the film did help Jan to keep to stay motivated looking for it? Or
I
was
don't
it
think,
his own
no, I don't think so. I don't think he needed the film for that. Because even now, you know, I could go on filming him because he's still discovering. Like in the end of the film, you see that he's on the hunch for another Rembrandt discovery. So I think he doesn't need me for a motivation. He's very motivated. So now I could go on filming. I could make another film, but I don't think I will. But I could. No, he didn't need me.
Yeah. I'm also interested in this situation when documentary filmmakers always sometimes find themselves in this very complicated psychological situations when something unexpected happens to the protagonist, and of course Jan experiences the betrayal kind of issue in this film, and it's very tough psychologically. We can see it on screen. How did you relate to the situation, and how did it influence the filmmaking process?
Well, it did a lot, because it wasn't in my script. And there was a certain moment that all the newspapers in Holland were filled, even in America, were filled with this news that another art dealer, accused Jan of betrayal. And it did, I must be honest, it did give me some sleepless nights, because how do you deal with that as a filmmaker? I mean, normally you always want to protect your protagonists because you know they're very vulnerable. So you have to be very careful, because the film goes all over the world. So you should be careful what you do. But in this case, there was no way not to put it in the film, because it was all over the news. When I would have ignored it, for example, people who came to the film would say, where were you? I mean, did you sleep, or were you aware what was happening? Or so there was no real dilemma, because I couldn't ignore it. On the other hand, I wanted to protect Jan, and I think I did in a way, because I didn't go over to the art dealer that accused him, and I didn't put him in front of the camera. I stayed with Jan. I stayed with the talk shows on the telly, and I just tried to be an observer without saying, oh, he did something wrong, or I just gave all the sides, from Ernst van der Wetering, who was in the film too. I gave everybody the space to say what they wanted to say about it. And I didn't really, I hope you agree with me, that I didn't really choose or say, yeah, he's right or he's wrong. I wanted to just show it. And I think the audience is clever enough to make up their own minds about it. Mm-hmm. And I still don't want to accuse him or accuse somebody else.
Yes, I think it's...
I'm not a judge.
None of our business. I don't know.
I think I'm not a judge.
Yeah.
If they go to court, they can ask who's saying the truth. But I'm not a judge. I cannot do that. I just can, as a filmmaker, I follow. You know, I follow the happenings, everything that's happening, and I show it. And of course, you make some decisions. But in the end, I think it's really up to the audience to make up their mind about it. And I even think it's interesting, because in that way, it's more like a whodunit, like a detective story. And you don't reveal every, there's something left to your imagination, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wanted also to share with you a scene, an episode in the film which I liked particularly. In the opening of this American collector's exhibition, there was a very interesting and nice play of the camera with the portraits of Rembrandt. And for me, it was like as if the director wanted to tell us that, look, this is a kind of Vanity Fair, but all these people of Rembrandt who lived 400 years ago, they also might have, experienced the same emotions, and they as if they were alive again, and they're participating in this exhibition opening.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I think I was trying, and I hope I succeeded, but in my personal experience, filming those people that are so close to their paintings, to me, they brought the 17th century very close. You can think it's very long time ago. It's, it's so long ago, but I think by going so deep into the paintings, it feels like you know these people who are portrayed. Especially in my personal experience with the old woman reading, she felt very close to me. So I hope that I've succeeded in bringing the portrayed people closer to us. So Rembrandt becomes not like some painter from very long ago, but it feels like you know the people. That's exactly right. Yes, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film. It tells us a lot of things that we might not know from the collector's perspective, from arts market perspective, and we will definitely look for another opportunities to screen the film in Skalvija in other contexts, and I hope that you will come and Jan will come when we are free out of this COVID crisis, and we will meet and we will again talk about art and how important art is for people in any times.